Maybe I really should just call this my bucket list series, because Biman Bangladesh has been on mine for quite a while. Biman, which more or less means airline or airplane, and is the common shorthand name of the airline, has been in operation since 1972, the year after Bangladesh's independence, and has been the hometown airline for a staggering population of 173 million people ever since. That's 173 million people in a country that's roughly the size of Greece, making it one of the most densely populated countries on Earth. My flight was originally meant to be on a 787, but I was actually kinda happy when it was changed to a 777. The 777s are dated in comparison, but they definitely give you a much more classic Biman experience. By the way, if you're ever curious how much I paid for this or any other flight, the exact price out of my pocket is always in the description. Let me welcome any of you that might be new to the channel. My name is Kevin. I'm here to give you a self-funded and honest look at some of the best, most unique, or simply most popular airlines and hotels in the world, which I've been bringing to you full-time for going on 5 years. I'd love for you to know about how I do things on the channel, so simply scan the QR code or check out my hundreds of videos to do so. Let's get into the trip report. I just landed from Helsinki and I'm transiting, luckily within the same terminal, to my Biman flight to Dhaka, but with a stop along the way. There aren't many airlines out there, especially in Asia, who still operate multi-stop direct flights, but Biman does regularly. Today, we'd first head to Chittagong, refuel, and then head off to Dhaka. Chittagong has multiple names, spellings, and pronunciations, so I've simply settled on the one which I've seen used throughout aviation, as best as I can tell. I had around 4 hours to kill, so I headed to the Alan business class lounge. I was a little bit shocked but thankful that security actually let me through into the terminal, since I only had one of those very old school full-page boarding pass screenshots. In the words of Dubai security, if it's got a barcode, it'll be okay. Anyway, so since I didn't actually check in, I wasn't sure which lounge was included, so I came here with priority pass. Biman started in 1972 with a single DC-3 flying domestic routes, and began flying via a partner to London by the end of the year on a 707. Until 1996, they had an absolute monopoly on the domestic market, and nearly so for regional routes. The 21st century flag carrier tale as old as time began to apply to Biman, as many of their longer routes, Tokyo and New York for example, which they operated sometimes at a loss through the 90s, simply became untenable, with the rise of the Emirates type of airlines beginning to connect the world with just one stop. The airline was state-owned until 2007, at which point it was turned into Bangladesh's largest private limited company, which has 208 million outstanding shares. Every one of them owned by, you guessed it, the state, so I'm not exactly sure what that transition was meant to do. Biman has a split hub operation, though the vast majority of their flights are to or from Dhaka. Many of their services in the mid to long haul category are routed through Chittagong or Sylhet before making their way to Dhaka. That said, they don't have those markets in their pocket any longer. US Bangla Airlines was formed in 2014 and now operates around 40% more daily flights out of Dhaka than Biman does. Not the best windows for viewing here, but here's our 11-year-old 777-300ER, one of 4 of them in their fleet. With growing competition, Biman has recently turned up the heat a little bit. They've had an on-again, off-again relationship with an order for 10 A350s from a couple of years ago, but it looks to be going forward now. In the past 3 years, they've also launched services to Toronto and Rome and relaunched Tokyo. For the early morning flight, I'd be in 3A in a sold-out business class cabin laid out in a 232 configuration with 35 angle flat seats. Overall, the seats and cabin were in really well-kept condition, and it was a comfortable place to be, despite not being the most modern of seats. Biman has lie flat seats in a 222 layout on their 4 787-8s, and in a 1-2-1 reverse herringbone configuration on their two 787-9s. If you're enjoying the video and would like to support the channel, there are many ways that you could do so. A quick like on the video and subscribe helps videos with the algorithm. You could join my YouTube channel memberships to get early access to some videos and access to all of my community posts. Or you could check out my Patreon, where I post the most and can help you out with any travel-related questions. Whatever you do, thanks for doing it. The leg rest had an extender on it, so it did turn out to be a pretty comfortable one. Prior to pushback, hot towels, bottles of water, and juice were passed out by the cabin crew, all of whom were friendly, perhaps with the exception of the purser, who wasn't too sure of what to make of me. After 2 full loads of gate check bags were loaded on board, the safety video began and we pushed back. After the Air Greenland A330-800neo that I saw in Copenhagen, here are the other 2 that I saw just 2 days later. You'll need to guess which of these 3 airlines I have booked for their Dash 800 for next year.
Position. In an emergency evacuation, illuminated seat-mounted lights will indicate the way to the exit.
Once up in the air, there was a tale of 2 passenger groups. Me and everyone else. I'll explain in a moment. First, the onboard comfort items. The pillow was an okay size and firm enough, and then there was the blanket, which was a shade of green that I wasn't aware existed, but I kinda loved it. I would never condone theft, honestly, but I wouldn't mind if I had one of those blankets at home. Any intrusive thoughts were thwarted, though, by the fact that the crew collected the blankets before landing in Chittagong. And I promise I wasn't going to take one. As we take a look at the in-flight entertainment, let me explain the tale of two groups. So, there were 35 full business class seats, and there were 34 passengers who slept from takeoff until landing. That left me as the only person to be awake, eat, look out the window, possibly even the only one to use the bathroom. I understand it was an early flight, but this was a pretty odd experience. When one member of the crew who was serving me the most realized that she wasn't going to get rid of me so easily, she let me know that I could eat at any time. On offer was an omelet, chicken with rice, or a vegetarian option. I asked her which of the latter two were Bangladeshi, and so I went with the vegetarian option. Feel free to tell me what I ate because I have no idea. That said, it was some of the most flavorful food that I've had in the air. This was not a, but we need to control the spice for Westerners kind of local dish, obviously. This was delicious in every way. It was served with a fruit cocktail, some rolls, and some local flatbreads. Overall, the full meal gets an 8.5 out of 10. Let's just make it a 9 because I love all the serveware details as well. What was essentially my private bathroom was very clean and well maintained, and soon after we were descending into Chittagong. Raise your hand if you've heard of Chittagong. This city, or this district, which I'll be honest with you, I had never heard about prior to booking this flight, is home to 17 million people, and is where the vast majority of passengers got off. In fact, I was the only one left in business, with what seemed to be a dozen or two left in economy. We were on the ground for around 40 minutes before they boarded for the flight to Dhaka. 2 people joined me in business, and economy filled right up. Here you can see that angle flatbed. Our departure was a bit delayed because of military exercises overhead, and I was offered some coffee and snacks while on the ground, a thoughtful touch. Soon enough, we were on our way to Dhaka, just 142 miles to the northwest.
Yeah.
That haze is nuts. Overall, I was impressed with Biman. It might sound as if I was a little bit surprised by this, but Biman doesn't exactly have the best reputation when it comes to trip reports and service on board. so I was just trying to temper my expectations. But things were organized, the cabin was well kept, the seat comfortable, the food good enough, and most of the crew were very personable and attentive. If I could get one of their 787-9s on a longer flight, I'd be happy to fly them again from Asia to Europe or North America. Essentially, when expectations are realistic, a good experience is always possible. I'm going to put them at a 6, and you're all going to freak out now because Emirates, Spirit, and Biman are all ranked the same. To that collective freakout, I say, I'm happy to look at all of your rankings and videos, which explain your own opinions in detail as well. I'm gonna head to my hotel, a 2.5-hour debacle of a drive. Dhaka traffic is no joke. So I really do hope that you enjoyed this trip report today. If you did, please be sure to click that like button and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss my weekly flight and hotel content. I'll see you next time from the Sheraton Senggigi in Lombok. As always, thanks for watching until the end.